Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I want to start today with a really simple question. If your business could speak, what do you think it's going to be telling you? Would it be saying things like that you're spending too much time in the wrong place? Your pricing isn't working. You've got a team issue and you're avoiding it. You're attracting the wrong type of customers. Or even perhaps you're actually much closer to a breakthrough than you realise. Now, the interesting thing is that your business is actually speaking to you every single day. But the problem is that most people in business are listening to the noise instead of the message. It's easy to become so busy solving today's problem or today's issue or today's crisis that you never stop to ask, what are these problems actually trying to teach you? And over the next few minutes, I'd like to show you how I learned to listen to a business. Now, I learned to listen to a business not because I'm particularly clever, because I'm not, but because after more than 40 years in business, over 20 of those in the hospitality industry, bars, restaurants, hotels, and now with my coaching business I've had for a number of years, I've realised something. Businesses always leave clues, always. And if we learn to recognise those clues, we're able to make better decisions, and those decisions become so much easier. It's almost as if the business is actually coaching you. So let me explain. When I first started in business, every problem to me felt different. So one week it might be a cash flow problem. The next week it could be a team issue. Then I might have a customer problem the week after that. Following week could be a supplier issue. Then it could be a profit problem the next week. And I used to look at all those problems as though they were all separate issues, but they weren't. They were just symptoms. And the real causes were hidden underneath. And when I started asking better questions instead of simply reacting, everything changed for me. So let me think of an example. Years ago, one of my restaurants wasn't making the profit that I was expecting. Sales were reasonably good. Actually, they were very good. Customers seemed happy. There was lots of great feedback. The team were really gelling together and they were working hard. Yet somehow there wasn't the predicted amount of profit left over at the end of the month. And in that scenario, many people in business would immediately look to reducing costs. That's often the first reaction. It's definitely my first reaction. But somewhere along the way, I started asking, what's this business really trying to tell me? And that led to me and the team taking a deeper look at what was going on. What's really going on underneath all this? What we discovered is that although the turnover looked healthy, really healthy, there were certain periods during the day when we simply weren't making enough money to cover our costs quickly enough. So those hours were dragging down the overall profit figure. But once we started tracking and understanding the point at which the business reached break even on a daily basis, we were able to turn that into a bit of a game. And we turned it into a bit of a game by asking a question, how could we reach break even earlier tomorrow than we did today? And luckily enough, the team really bought into that. And that led to small improvements every single day. And that earlier break even point meant more hours generating profit instead of simply paying the bills. So that single insight changed the way we thought, or I thought. The truth is, the business had been talking to me all along. I just haven't been listening. And I see the same thing happen inside clients' businesses day in and day out. Someone tells me I'm struggling with cash flow. That's rarely a cash flow problem because cash flow is an outcome. So we instead ask things like, well, what's creating that cash flow issue? Could it be pricing? Could it be margins? Could it be late payers? Could it be holding too much stock? Could it be having too much work in progress, which is a real drain on cash? Could it be poor forecasting, wrong customers? Could it be a combination of some or all of those things? But here's the thing. When we keep asking questions, eventually the business reveals the truth. Another example could be a client once came to me convinced that they had a sales problem. We just need more customers. But after looking at the numbers, that wasn't true at all. They were attracting plenty of inquiries. The issue wasn't that they had too many potential customers. The potential customers are actually disappearing after the first conversation. The business wasn't saying we need more inquiries. It was saying you need a better sales process. You need a different message. You need a different solution. You need a different result for your customers. Another client believed they had a recruitment problem. We can't find good people, which is something I hear a lot in business. Again, that really wasn't what the business was saying. Because when we actually looked deeper, what we found was there were talented people that were joining the company. The problem was they weren't staying for too long. It was as though they had a revolving door with people coming and going on the front of the business. So the issue here wasn't recruitment. The issue was leadership. And once they developed their managers, improved the communication, improved the culture and the onboarding process, their staff retention improved dramatically. Well, the clues had always been there. So here's the question for you. When something keeps repeating itself in your business, what if it isn't bad luck? What if it's just feedback? Because patterns always leave clues. So if you find yourself firefighting every week, that's a clue. If decisions keep coming back to you, that's a clue. If your diary is full, but your business isn't growing, that's a clue. If your team are constantly interrupting you, that's a clue. If you're winning plenty of work, but you never seem to have enough cash, then that's definitely a clue. The business is trying to tell you something. The challenge is that many owners stay focused on solving the symptoms. Imagine for a second you're driving along in your car and all of a sudden the engine warning light comes on. Now, most of us, I'm guessing, wouldn't just put a piece of tape over that light. What we'd probably do is we'd have a bit of curiosity to want to know what's causing that light to light up. And businesses are exactly the same. Yes, the dashboard matters. It really does matter. But the dashboard isn't the problem. The dashboard is pointing in the direction of the problem. And that's one of the biggest shifts that I help my clients make. Move from reacting to understanding, from guessing to knowing, from firefighting to improving. Now, one incredibly simple exercise that I encourage you to get into the habit of doing is at the end of each day, ask yourself one question. What was my business trying to teach me today? Not the usual what went wrong or what annoyed me or how busy was I today. Instead, what lesson was hidden inside my business today? Because you're going to be amazed at how quickly the patterns begin to appear. You might notice that you're having the same conversation every week. That's a systems issue. You might notice that customers keep asking the same question. Well, that's a marketing issue. You might notice that you're constantly approving the same things. That's a delegation issue. The clues are usually hiding in plain sight. And the successful people that I know in business don't necessarily have fewer problems. They simply become better listeners. And they understand that every number, every conversation, every customer, every member of staff, every challenge is trying to tell them something. And when they listen carefully enough, the next decision becomes obvious. Now, if you've watched some of the earlier videos I did this week, you'll know that we've spoken about delaying decisions. We've spoken about how your diary is telling the truth. And in actual fact, your diary is your lie detector. And we've spoken about profit leaving clues. And hopefully now you can see that those three problems are all connected. Every business produces evidence. Evidence about where time is disappearing. Evidence about where money is escaping. Evidence about where opportunities are waiting. So the question isn't whether the clues exist. The question is, are we paying attention? I'd like to leave you with one final thought. Your business is perfectly designed to produce the results that you're currently getting. You have a perfect system for achieving those results. So if you want different results, don't just work harder, listen harder, because your business is already telling you what needs to change. Now, if you're not quite sure what it's trying to tell you, or you'd like someone to help you to interpret those signals, then send me a message, because I'd be delighted to have a conversation with you and look at your business with fresh eyes and help you uncover the clues that could make the biggest difference for you over the next 12 months. Okay, we'll leave it there today because I'm not sure where you're tuning in from, but here in the UK, we're having a bit of a heat wave, and a lot of us don't tend to cope well with those, and I'm one of those, and I'm beginning to melt. So thank you very much for joining me today. You go and have a fantastic, fun, and really profitable week. And I'll see you on the next live next week, same time, same place, every Thursday. Thank you for joining me.